Unlike sections 1, 3, and 4, which are the heavy content-based sections, CARS has an interesting quirk where students can pick the wrong answer, but for the right reasons. Now, this might sound super weird, but let's take a look at an example and it'll become a lot clearer. Let's say you're doing a chem phys question. The question is something about math and physics, and 50% of students choose A and 50% choose D. Well, D is the correct answer, but the reason why most of the other students probably picked A is probably the same reason. They either forgot to add something, they forgot to divide, or they missed one small fact in the passage that kind of told them what to do with the information or the formula or the values. Basically, in Chem Phys, Bio, and Psych Soc, students typically, if they're picking a consistent answer that isn't the correct answer, they're probably picking it for a set reason. There's probably some mathematical component, passage component, or logic component that's playing into that decision. This is not the case for CARS. So for example, let's deal with a CARS question. And for some reason, it's the same setup. 50% of students choose D and 50% choose A. Now, D, again, is the correct answer, but the thing is, among the students who picked A, they don't have to pick A for the same reason. And this is because CARS is inherently a subjective section. In the content-based sections, students get an answer wrong, but for a very specific reason. In CARS, there can be a number of reasons that contribute to students picking a consistently wrong answer. In this case, half of all students picked A, but they could have all been picking A for the wrong reason, or rather different reasons. Because CARS is inherently subjective, they could have felt that through their reading of the passage, interpretation of the question, and evaluation of evidence, that A was the correct answer for a very specific set of reasons that another student who also picked A felt that wasn't true. Their passage interpretation, question interpretation, and evidence evaluation could have been very different from that student, but it both ended them up in the same place, which is an incorrect answer. CARS can be very tricky in that respect, and a lot of people who are struggling with CARS often get caught in this loop where they do questions and then they review them, but then they only compare the answer that they chose to the correct answer. Whereas in reality, the best way to improve is to compare your thought processes in getting to the answer relative to the thought processes that would be needed to get to the correct answer. Skills work in CARS is super important, and it's a big part of the MCAT Save Your CARS course, and it's a big reason about why we talk about these topics, because to really get good at CARS, you need to get good at the skills that underlie all of the CARS mechanics. And in a lot of cases, a lot of teaching material doesn't cover those skills. So students don't even know they exist. So if they don't know they exist, they can't practice them. Good performance and growth in CARS often comes from a very strict review process that incorporates not only your comparison of what you got wrong to the actual answer, but your comparison of your application of your skills with reference to how you should have applied them. The big takeaway that we want students to get from this lesson is that the more time you spend thinking about why your thought processes are leading you to a certain answer or a certain type of answer that may or may not be consistently wrong or right, the more you'll grow as a student in CARS. So never forget that component of your training. If you need more help, we have tons of material on properly reviewing CARS as part of our free strategy set with Module 0. Go ahead and take a look at that. But we definitely want the skill to be something you incorporate when you're doing your CARS practice, and especially your CARS review, because it's going to make you grow that much faster. Alright, that was a complicated lesson. If you still need help, check out our full-length blog post that we linked in the video description, explore more of our YouTube channel, or just head on over to mcatsavior.com where you can get all of our strategy courses for free.